Looking back at the Itachi infiltration arc, it's sort of amazing that Naruto was not captured. On paper, it seems like an easy task considering Itachi and Kisame took the mission. They could have taken Naruto, but because of Itachi's allegiance to the Leaf and some luck, this didn't happen. There is one key moment that gave Itachi what he needed to not capture Naruto. What if this moment never happened though? Jiraiya coming back to the hotel room is what saved Naruto. Itachi was able to hype Jiraiya up enough that Kisame wasn't bold enough to challenge him. I actually think Itachi let Jiraiya discover that the girl was under genjutsu though. Jiraiya's entrance was perfect timing, so that makes it suspicious. Did he really realize that this girl was under genjutsu, or did Itachi purposely make it obvious to save Naruto? I believe the latter, but let's say Jiraiya never comes back to the hotel room. The genjutsu is simply foolproof, and with no more time to stall, Itachi would have to capture Naruto. Naruto would be put under a paralysis genjutsu, and the Akatsuki duo would leave an unconscious Sasuke behind. Jiraiya comes back to his hotel room hours later and realizes that Naruto is missing. Sasuke would have been taken to a hospital by Guy, and Leaf Ninja would inform Jiraiya that Kisame and Itachi Uchiha were in town earlier that day. He's also been told that they are an organization called the Akatsuki, and this is when it would click for Jiraiya. He knows that the Akatsuki are after the tailed beast, and he deduces that Naruto has been kidnapped. Jiraiya knows that he can't let the Nine Tails fall into the Akatsuki's hands, so he pursues the kidnappers. Jiraiya requests for Kiba's mom and her dog to track the Akatsuki duo sent for him, and she agrees to join him. Itachi and Kisame are heading to the Hidden Rain village to deliver Naruto to the leader of the Akatsuki. Pain would want Naruto under his watch for safekeeping. Night would pass and both parties would take the opportunity to rest. Jiraiya is not far away from his target and catches up to Naruto by noon. He tells Kiba's mom to disengage because this is a fight only he is capable of fighting. Lord Third is dead, Kakashi is in a coma, and he isn't aware of Guy's ability to open the 8 inner gates. He's the only one in the Leaf able to challenge the strongest of the 7 ninja swordsmen and the strongest of the strongest clan in the world to his knowledge. He's aware of how much of a threat he is facing, and that's why he's already summoned Ma and Pa in order to go into Sage mode. Itachi defers and lets an eager Kisame take on one of the legendary Sannin. I'm going to pause the narrative now and talk about how these two match up. When it comes to taijutsu, Kisame has the advantage. He was able to beat base Guy in close quarters combat along with version 1B. He's got high amounts of strength and durability even compared to Sage Mode Jiraiya. Jiraiya isn't going to be able to bully Kisame, and Samihada will make things hard for Jiraiya. You may think that Samihada isn't able to safely absorb nature energy, but that's not true. The Predapath was able to absorb Naruto's nature energy and actually take him out of Sage Mode easily. It was only dangerous to do it when Naruto tried to re-enter Sage Mode, as this caused the Predapath to turn to stone. So it should only be dangerous for Kisame to absorb nature energy if Jiraiya is actively gathering it. Ma and Pa are, or at least they are frequently during battle. So if Kisame absorbs chakra directly from Ma and Pa, he will lose Samihada. But I don't see this happening during battle most likely. It's something to keep in mind, however. That went wide, but it's important to talk about how that interaction goes. Bottom line is, Kisame can go toe-to-toe with Jiraiya, and Samihada gives him the edge in taijutsu. As for ninjutsu, nothing that Jiraiya can do will work on Kisame. His fire style gets countered with water style, and if necessary, a water strike bomb. This water style jutsu absorbs the ninjutsu and makes itself stronger, so this would be very bad for Jiraiya. Even something like a massive Rasengan wouldn't work, because Samihada could absorb it. Samihada can absorb enough chakra that he was able to reduce version 2B to version 1. That amount of chakra is much greater than any ninjutsu attack Jiraiya can use. Jiraiya does have his auditory genjutsu, but it takes some time to pull off. If he were to attempt the frog song, Kisame could counter by flooding the surrounding area and staying underwater. I imagine that the genjutsu would be useless underwater because water will distort the sound. Ma and Pa have to sing an exact note, which will not sound the same or carry very well underwater. At this point in the fight, I can see Kisame using his water dome and fusing with Samihada to gain the environmental advantage. Jiraiya would counter by summoning Gamabunta. Gamabunta would jump out of the dome because Jiraiya can't breathe underwater to our knowledge. Kisame would counter by using the water from the water dome and turning it into sharks. These sharks would rival Gamabunta in size and be a threat to him. He can jump out of the way easily though, and use his own water style to attack them from afar. Jiraiya can also attack them, and with some teamwork they could take the sharks out with some difficulty. Kisame would summon a water shark bomb, and Gamabunta would try to cancel it out with his own water style. This water shark bomb would absorb Gamabunta's jutsu and grow large enough to rival Gamabunta in size. Gamabunta would take a devastating bite from the shark, and causing him to have to summon himself back to Mount Miyaboku. Both fighters will have used everything in their arsenal at this point, leaving a gritty taijutsu matchup to decide who wins. Samehada would continue to absorb Jiraiya's chakra until there was no nature energy left in the area to use. As the fight went on, Kisame would simply have too much chakra at this point compared to Jiraiya and eventually lose. Jiraiya would have an excellent last fight, but Kisame's ability to absorb chakra would be too much to overcome. After killing one of the legendary three, Kisame would turn and look at Itachi holding an unconscious Naruto. Itachi appears emotionless, but internally he's crushed that the Leaf just lost their most powerful shinobi along with the Nine Tails. This fight was the last roadblock in their mission, and by the next day, Itachi and Kisame will have delivered Naruto to pain. Nagato's plan for Naruto includes keeping him captive by inserting chakra rods into his body. This allows Nagato to control Naruto if he tries to escape from his prison. Naruto doesn't do well in this prison though. He wants to break out very badly, but he has no plan at the moment. He knows that he can't take on pain by himself, and is clueless on how to escape. He has time though because it will be 3 years until the Akatsuki even tries to capture the One Tails. A funeral is held in Jiraiya's honor, and the Leaf would be feeling very vulnerable at this time. They lost their Hokage, their candidate for 5th Hokage, and the Nine Tails itself. The elders would have to resort to finding Tsunade, which is not an easy task. Jiraiya was able to do it because he excels in work like that, so the elders would have the Leaf's best trackers help them. While they are closing in on Tsunade's position, Orochimaru will have beaten them to the punch. He offers reanimating her 2 lost loves in exchange for healing his arms. Tsunade gets blackout drunk that night, and the next day the 2 elders find her. They beg her to come back and be Hokage, or at least come back to heal Kakashi and Sasuke. They even tell her about Jiraiya and Hiruzen dying, along with the Nine Tails being captured. At first she's totally opposed to the offer, but she gravitates more towards telling them that she needs a week to think it over. Without Naruto's aspiration to be Hokage, she isn't reminded of what Dan and Nawaki dreamed of. Her will of fire was extinguished long ago, and the cold elders of the Leaf aren't able to reignite it. A few days before meeting with Orochimaru, she travels to the Leaf in order to bring Sasuke and Kakashi out of their comas. After Kakashi is brought back to consciousness, Tsunade points at him and tells him that that is your next Hokage. Kakashi passively tries to defer and asks Tsunade to do it, but it's no use. She leaves the Leaf the same day, leaving the elders with 2 choices for Hokage. They can either choose the experienced Danzo or the more electable Kakashi. Danzo makes a speech saying how the 3rd Hokage is responsible for the carnage the Leaf just experienced, but the speech falls flat. The daimyo is inspired by the 3rd's efforts to save the village, and is more enticed by the thought of Kakashi being Hokage. The daimyo ignores Danzo and selects Kakashi as Hokage. As soon as the meeting ends, Shikaku tells the council he'll break the news to Kakashi. He tells them Kakashi won't want to do it, but he has the ability to convince him to. Kakashi is told by Shikaku that either he becomes Hokage or Danzo does. Kakashi really doesn't want Danzo to be Hokage, so this would be the motivation that makes him accept the offer of being Hokage. A week has passed and Tsunade has met with Orochimaru. She knows what she is about to do may very likely destroy the Leaf, but this is not as important as meeting Dan and Nawaki again. Orochimaru's arms are healed, and he is more than grateful to Tsunade. He gladly uses Edo Tensei to summon Nawaki and Dan out of the ground. Tsunade breaks down crying as soon as their 2 lost loves come to life. Orochimaru and Kabuto head back to their hideout with a devious plan in the making. Tsunade leaves Shizune behind and goes to a quiet place in order to enjoy her time with Dan and Nawaki. As the days pass, she is reminded of how much these 2 love the Leaf. Dan even presses her as to how they were reanimated. Tsunade folds and tells the entire story due to guilt. Dan is disappointed in her, but at the same time he's sympathetic. He tells her that she needs to go back to the village and become Hokage. He wants her to carry on his and Nawaki's will as Hokage. She agrees, but Dan and Nawaki can't go back to the village because the Leaf would discover that she healed Orochimaru's arms. They'll meet up often, but they simply can't live together, sadly. Tsunade arrives back in the Leaf right before Kakashi is inducted as Hokage. She tells Kakashi she'll be Hokage if he doesn't want to, and he gladly takes her up on her offer. Her first order of business is studying up on how Edo Tensei works. She has the authority to do this, and she'll just tell people that she's researching it in order to understand what Orochimaru can do better. She finds out if those under Edo Tensei perform certain hand seals, they can become free of the user's control. Tsunade knows that one day she will have to protect the Leaf from Orochimaru, so she doesn't want him controlling Dan and Nawaki when she defends it. She also learns that if a reanimation makes peace with itself, it can break Edo Tensei and die once more. This moment will happen with Dan and Nawaki when Tsunade passes, so they can meet in the afterlife again. Things would be going great for Tsunade until she would be told that Sasuke Uchiha left the village seeking Orochimaru. I've always felt like it was for plot reasons as for why Tsunade didn't try to save Sasuke herself. In my story, she'll act on this and take matters into her own hands. She knows that Orochimaru wants the Sharingan, and the Leaf simply cannot afford Orochimaru taking it for his own. She'll decide that she needs to be the one to save Sasuke. She'll tell the guards with the injuries to the Leaf that when Kakashi comes back, he needs to come follow her immediately. She would take Kiba and Akamaru with her in order for him to track Sasuke's scent. The Sound Four would be resting after taking out some Leaf Jonin when Tsunade would confront them by herself. They would know who she is and that they don't stand a chance against her alone. The Sound Four can't even defeat Kimimaro together, who is primarily a taijutsu user just like Tsunade. Tsunade is much more powerful than him though, and after a lengthy battle, the Sound Four would be killed one by one. Kiba watched in the distance and was amazed by how powerful Tsunade is. Both of them travel back to the Leaf Village before even Kakashi arrives. Kimimaro succumbs to his illness, feeling like a failure to Orochimaru. Orochimaru doesn't care about Kimimaro though, and is instead pissed off he wasn't able to acquire Sasuke. His plans for destroying the Leaf are put on hold, and he transfers into a new body instead. Sasuke is imprisoned and interrogated by Ibiki. After some time passes, Sasuke realizes he was mistaken for leaving and is released. The Anbu Black Ops watch every move he makes for the next several months, however. The next decision Tsunade needs to make is what to do about Naruto. The Leaf needs the Nine Tails very badly, but can they retrieve it? Tsunade knows Jiraiya was killed by just one of them, and another put Kakashi in a coma just by looking in his eyes. Those two are too much for the Leaf by themselves to take on, much less whoever else is left in that organization. It's a difficult decision, but she would decide that she's just going to have to let it go. This means it's up to Naruto to escape. After a month of being imprisoned, he would become bold enough to escape. He may not be that smart, but he sure is crafty when he really wants to achieve something. He's observed that one Path of Pain will watch him at all times, or Conan will watch him. Since Pain can control him through chakra rods, he knows he will have to escape when he is not around. Several hours after Conan replaces a Path of Pain watching Naruto, he makes his move. He hopes that Pain is asleep, but even then he has to do something to escape. He is pretending to be asleep, but he secretly is taking out his chakra rods. When the last one is taken out, he summons 1,000 shadow clones to overwhelm his prison. They overwhelm the building and quickly destroy the metal bars restraining Naruto in a small room. Conan begins to take some of them out, but it's no use. They aren't even fighting her and instead are jumping off the high-rise and scattering across the rainy city. Almost 1,000 clones are going in complete opposite directions, and Conan has no hope in finding the real one. She alerts Nagato soon after, and he uses the 6 Paths of Pain to search for the real one. They split up, but there are too many to find. The majority of the clones leave the village, and Pain has no trace of Naruto left. He knows he'll be in the Leaf Village soon enough, but he's not worth the trouble yet. Pain plans to go to the Leaf one day to collect the Nine Tails, but he first must collect the other 8-tailed beast. It was confusing for Naruto to make it back to the village, but he did it after a few days. Every ninja in that village breathed a sigh of relief, and his friends are ecstatic to have him back. Tsunade gives him her special necklace since he is the host for the Nine Tails. The last few months were turbulent for the Leaf, but Naruto coming back is a catalyst for peace and prosperity for the Leaf. Sasuke trains like a dog in order to catch up with Itachi, and Naruto being trained is one of the Leaf's top priorities. Kakashi teaches him the Rasengan, and he has sent to Mount Myoboku in order to learn Sage Mode. Naruto had the potential to become the Leaf's strongest shinobi, so that potential will be reached with some great teachers. Sakura doesn't have the drive to study under Tsunade, but she does learn some medical ninjutsu, so she can become the support ninja of Team 7. This is the end of this video though, as it is getting kinda long. I may continue this What If series as soon as my next video, if it gets enough support through likes and comments. So if you aren't subscribed and want to see part 2 of this What If, I suggest subscribing so you don't miss it. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more videos in the future. Comment something if you have something to say, and thank y'all for watching, and I guess I'll see y'all next time.